Welcome back to Planet WordPress. In this video, we'll teach you how to install the WordPress platform on your own domain. If you've watched our previous introductory videos in this series, you know that WordPress is a free, open source content management system that is extremely easy to use. For anyone that wants to self-host their website, WordPress is available for download at no charge by visiting wordpress.org. It's important to note that there are different methods for completing the install process. For example, many web hosting providers offer tools that will automatically install WordPress for you. These are commonly referred to as one-click installs. Make sure to consult with your hosting provider to find out what options they have, if any, to install WordPress as a one-click install. However, in this tutorial, we're going to walk you through the process of manually installing WordPress yourself, step by step, and within a matter of minutes, set you up in preparation for deploying your own fully functional WordPress website. We'll provide you with the insight to ensure you understand how to install WordPress on any server, even those without the one-click install option. Before getting started, you'll need access to a reliable hosting provider. Here are a few hosting providers that we recommend. For simplicity, we have broken down the installation process into 4 separate sections. First, we'll show you how to connect to your server using the FTP client. Secondly, we'll set up the MYSQL database, which stores our website's content and settings. Then we'll download WordPress from wordpress.org and upload the WordPress files to our FTP client. And lastly, once our files have been uploaded, we'll complete the process by utilizing the WordPress install wizard. Let's start by showing you how to connect to the server. The easiest and most common way to connect to the server is using FTP, which stands for File Transfer Protocol. This allows us to transfer files securely between our computer and the web server. To do this, we'll need 2 things. First, we'll need our website's FTP credentials. This information is supplied by our web hosting provider and needed to establish a connection to the server. If your hosting provider uses cPanel, which most providers do, you can use your cPanel username and password as your FTP username and password. If you're unsure about what your FTP credentials are, contact your hosting provider. They'll gladly help you figure it out. The second item we'll need to connect to the server is a FTP client. The FTP client is a computer application that stores our FTP credentials, connects to our server, and is responsible for transferring files back and forth between our computer and the web server. The FTP client I recommend and will be using in this tutorial is FileZilla, because it is easy to use and it is cross-compatible on all major operating systems. Let's open FileZilla now, and I'll show you how simple it is to connect to the server. After opening FileZilla, I'm going to create a FTP profile. This will store my FTP credentials, allowing me to connect to the server at a later time without having to re-enter them. I do this by simply clicking the Site Manager button in the top left corner. Once the Site Manager is open, click the New Site button and enter the FTP credentials. Once you've entered the credentials, go ahead and click the Connect button to establish a connection to your server. Once you're connected, you will see your server files populate on the right and your computer files populate on the left. The next step in the process is to set up the MySQL database. The database is going to store all our website's content and settings. Creating a database can be slightly different from one hosting company to the next. In this example, we'll be creating a database using cPanel. The first step in creating a database is to click the MySQL Databases icon. We'll want to enter our database name. If you're using cPanel, you'll see that cPanel automatically populates the database name with the username of our cPanel account. In our case, let's create the database asteroid_WP. Next, we need to create a database user. This is done by scrolling down to the MySQL Users section. Just like the database name, cPanel will automatically populate the MySQL username with our cPanel username. After we finish entering our username, we'll need to create a strong password. We recommend creating a password with a minimum of 8 characters, containing an uppercase and lowercase letter, a number, and a special character, such as an ampersand, exclamation mark, or our favorite, a money symbol. The stronger the password, the better, as it ensures proper security. After the database name and user have been created, it is time to add the user to the database. We do that by scrolling down to the Add User to Database section and select the newly created user and database name, and then click the Add button. We will then be directed to the Manage User Privileges page. Select the All Privileges checkbox and click the Make Changes button. And that's it. We've now successfully created a database. Next, we're going to download WordPress and then upload the WordPress files to the FTP client. You can download WordPress by visiting wordpress.org. After landing on the WordPress homepage, you want to click the Download WordPress button. Of course, this takes you to a separate page, so you need to click the Download WordPress button once again. You can see at the time of recording this video, the current WordPress version is 4.5.3. WordPress is downloaded to your computer as a zip file. Once fully downloaded, you'll want to extract the zip file. Now that the WordPress files are downloaded and extracted, it's time we start uploading the files to our server. Although I am doing this in FileZilla, the process will pretty much be the same regardless of what FTP client you are using. To do this, we are going to locate the folder entitled public_HTML on the right side of the FTP client. Next, we'll highlight all the files we recently downloaded from wordpress.org and drag them into the public HTML folder. This will immediately start uploading the WordPress files to our server. You may want to grab some coffee because the upload process will take a few minutes. Now that the WordPress files have finished uploading to the FTP client, we can finish out the install process by setting everything up using the WordPress installation wizard. We start by navigating to our domain using our web browser. We are greeted with the WordPress welcome message, which outlines the things we need before proceeding. I'll click the Let's Go button to proceed on to the WordPress installation wizard. The first step in the wizard is to enter the database credentials that we created earlier using our FTP client, including the database name, username, and password. You can leave the database host name as a local host since it should work. Once our credentials have been entered, we hit the Submit button to proceed to the next step. WordPress provides you with the confirmation that the credentials we entered were correct. Click the Run the Install button to advance to the next part of the wizard. The second step is denoted as the famous 5-minute install and is fairly straightforward. We start by creating a site title for our website. Next, we need to create the username and password for the WordPress admin account. Make sure to write this information down as you'll need it to log into your new WordPress site. WordPress provides you with a very strong password for security purposes. If you prefer to have your own password, it doesn't have to meet their requirements, but you will have to confirm the use of a weak password. You'll need to enter your email address and select whether you want to have your website visible to search engines or not. You can select to turn off search engine visibility, which discourages search engines from indexing your website. When you've entered in all of your information, click the Install WordPress button. And that's it. You should now see the confirmation page letting you know that the installation was successful. To access the WordPress administration panel and begin building your new WordPress site, simply click the Login button on the confirmation page. Alternatively, you can access your login screen at any time by typing in your website's URL /wp-admin. This will take you to the main login screen. Enter the username and password for the admin account we just created and click Login. You are now able to start building your fully featured website using the WordPress platform. We hope this video has guided you through the process of installing WordPress on your own web server. Thanks for watching.